Hey guys, welcome back to some more AFK Arena. Today we're over on the free-to-play account. Now, when it comes to the heroes of AFK Arena, a lot of them are really near and dear to our heart. And every year, AFK Arena holds a popularity contest, which I think is pretty cool because we do have the popularity tab in here, and seeing who is popular is a little bit different when it is the polling information. So I want to hop over to Facebook. We want to check out the polling information and see exactly where your favorite heroes fall within AFK Arena and also where they fall within that popularity contest. All right, guys, so here we have it, the winter popularity poll, the most welcome characters for the Awakened Heroes. As you can see, guys, we have the crowning jewel right there with 8,272 votes. It is the Awakened version of Belinda. Now, of course, we know the Awakened version of Belinda was probably one of the absolute game changers when it came to AFK Arena, even working at Legendary incredibly well. I feel like she really set the bar super high and continues to in AFK Arena. We also have the Awakened version of Solus, which again, when you look at the healing aspect, when you look at a hero that I feel a lot of people really kind of resonate in how she works, being our first support hero made a really big difference. And then my opinion, guys, Brutus. I love the Awakened version of Brutus. I feel like he is just an absolute monster. The crowd control and everything else he does in combat, but just the visually stunning aspect that he looks. He is huge. He is a massive hero in AFK Arena and really did make a groundbreaking difference when it comes to our Mauler heroes. Now, looking at the light bearers, this breaks it down into each individual faction, which, interesting enough, number one was Jerome. Now, again, being a newer hero to AFK Arena, he works incredibly well as a buffer, guys. Jerome and Palmer, who came in at number two, are super effective and best in slot by far when it comes to the buffer, when you start getting into multiple teams, especially when it comes to Jerome and the light bearers, because of course he gives a very solid bonus when it comes to the light bearers. But with Palmer being the number two, Palmer is actually one where the crit damage amplification, he can really raise the damage caps for a lot of other heroes. And then, interesting enough, out of all of the choices, guys, we have the original version of Belinda. So I think this is probably just an absolute fan favorite that people have loved forever. I know a lot of players had the original version of Belinda completely maxed out. With the engraving rewind, they went ahead and reset this one. So Graveborn, guys, Damon still rocks it, which I completely agree with. If you're early game, if you're mid game, Damon is the one that is absolutely going to dominate everything, which of course replaced the original version of Shamira. If you've been playing AFK Arena for a while, this is your carry. Followed by Grez. So Grez, of course, is a very old hero, but we are still seeing Grez in the best in slot a lot of different places, guys. That is the reason he has been with the minions, with the shielding, with the damage, with the breaking of the shield. There's a really unique dynamic that Grez has really held on to. And then, of course, Ivan, guys, being a support hero. Ivan is, again, similar to what we see with Jerome and Palmer, is an absolute game changer when it comes to the support hero. A lot of players are running Ivan with Damon early game, and it is broken, guys. It is an absolute broken combination between those two. Now, looking at the Wilders, Mishka is number one, guys. Now, I love Mishka, I think, as an effective hero. Again, starting to see her kind of subbed out in a couple different places, but having both those wolves, providing a lot of crowd control, shielding, healing aspect works incredibly well, followed by Orin. Orin, of course, is kind of somewhat of a sub for the Awakened version of Thane. A lot of players do run Orin in a lot of those combinations. We're also seeing him right now in the Cursed Realm, which is very cool to see. In addition, guys, with the Wilder Tower, absolutely just crushes it with the damage, the crowd control, and the burst damage that the hero puts out. And then, of course, a star we have down here, Little Peanut. It does have a lot of mitigation, but also does a very high considerable amount of damage for, again, a support hero. And overall, looking at these popularity polls, we do have a lot of support heroes, but it's still being effective in a lot of different game modes. Now, this one for me was kind of shocking. Number one being Entendre. Now, overall, guys, we do see a lot of effectiveness with her, not really as much anymore. But as a hero, that is kind of the Mauler version of Isolde. If you can get the marks up, if you can get, her abilities, the survivability aspect up, it's very hard to kill her. She has the ability to heal herself, which makes it very hard to kill the hero. Followed by Anasta. And again, Anasta is one that I feel it should be number one probably. And again, the votes were super, super close, guys. You're talking what, 40 votes, which is kind of crazy. But Honesta does see a little bit of gameplay again when it comes to the Mauler Tower, of course. But overall, these, and it's pretty sad to say, but most of the Maulers are kind of getting phased out. Which I know Crescio was there for a little while. It's getting phased out quite a bit. Kren was there for a little while, has gotten phased out. Even looking at Drez was there, has kind of gotten phased out. Honesta, we see the exact same. And then there is the original version of Brutus, still an absolute monster with the shielding ability, still used in a lot of niche formations. Now, when we get the hypos, guys, that is right. Kanisa and Rook dominated in this one. I love that they're in number one, guys. Kanisa and Rook, of course, the crowd control, the energy disintegration, the PvP aspect works super, super well. I love Kanisa and Rook, followed by Lucila, which, of course, this was the fan favorite, guys. As much as players really built Liberta because Liberta is completely broken at this point, Lucila is a very solid kind of a support hero in there, with Liberta working incredibly well in combination. But there's also a lot of formations where she is working outside of running with Liberta. And then, of course, guys, again, another support hero with Lavatoon. Lavatoon, same kind of thing with Palmer and with Jerome. Super broken, same as Ivan. Works incredibly well in a ton of formations. And of course, guys, he is our rocker, which is cool to see. Then, of course, we have the Celestials. Again, look at that, guys. No Liberta here, as much as players use it and as much as players do love Liberta. No Liberta is here, and Ulna just, again, dominates, guys. 6,300 compared to 33 from Demia. That is incredible that Ulna still has such a solid presence. Now, overall, guys, Ulna within the Treasure Scramble, absolutely. Campaign formations definitely dominates, as well as a couple other game modes. When you start looking at Curse Realm Nightmare Corridor, not really used there anymore because you don't really need the survival aspect that she does bring. Now, Demia is another, again, as when you start looking at the mage support or the support heroes, works incredibly well as a support hero with the buffing and with the damage that she's putting out. I still like her in formations. And then number 3, the original version of Athalia, again, utility-wise, guys, still does work incredibly well. Then we look at our dimensionals. We have Amelia coming out almost, 1,300 over Rem, guys. And again, I feel like it's just the nature of the hero itself. A lot of players love Amelia if you know the ReZero and kind of where they came from, which I'm not super familiar with, but Amelia was the one that everyone loved. Rem was the one that was kind of the backup. And then Ainz Al Ghul still making it here, guys, even though he was just subject to probably the biggest engraving reset that we've seen in history. Most players that I've talked to are resetting Ainz and have reset Ainz at this point, including myself, if you caught the video. And then, of course, guys, the final one, or no, we got the bosses. Azamonth was the boss, Contortium Stalker, and then Demonic Entity. So it is Dark Namora there. Very, very cool, wicked bosses. I even like the Sky Serpent that we're fighting right now in the Abyssal Expedition that's coming up. And unfortunately, Riz and Soren did not make it because they've been here for 5 years. So unfortunately, they did not make it. And that's quite a few votes in there. And then the final one, guys, are the beasts. The Wing Lion is still dominating. As cute as the panda is, I don't even know if Pandy was out at that time, but there are a few ones. The Wing Lion coming in, again, far in number 1, followed by the Owl, and then Talisman, which that's a pretty good dynamic to build. Short of the Seal, I'm surprised the Seal actually didn't show up here. But all right, guys, so that's going to do it for our midwinter popularity poll. Let me know in the comments what heroes you love and who you voted for. And as always, thank you guys for watching.